Hi friends, it's Rabbi Jenny Solomon here at Beth Myers Synagogue with a Mincha moment. This week's Torah portion is Tissa, perhaps most famous for the episode of the golden calf, not one of the best moments in Jewish history. We can picture the scene, Moses coming down from Mount Sinai with the tablets, only to see his brother Aaron and the children of Israel dancing around a molten calf, an idol that they have made. It's not a pretty scene. But there's another part of this week's Torah portion which teaches us something else very deep that I think about even to this day. Ki Tissa, actually, the name of this week's Torah portion, refers to the idea of counting the Israelites, counting the Jewish people. And in taking this census, rather than count people, 1, 2, 3, 4, each person was to give a small tax, what's called a chetzi shekel, a half a coin. And through that collection of that tax, to assess the number of people in our community. And from this teaching, we get the prohibition of counting people by numbers. As Jews, we're actually taught never to count the number of people in the room, 1, 2, 3, 4. So while this can be practically complicated, after all, we do need to know how many people RSVP'd so we have enough food. We need to know how many people are in the room for, fire safety. But this idea that we don't count people outright, I think, is something very deep. And the first is that it is easy to fall prey to worshiping the God of numbers. That is, a false God of numbers. We assume that counting the number of people who attend something or who buy our product or the number of hits on the internet is the number one way to assess impact, change, worthiness of what we're doing. And I think we are wise to question that. Of course, we need to have data. We need numbers. But counting people by number is not always the best way to understand impact and to understand what really matters. And second, numbers, when it comes to people, can be a tool of oppression and dehumanization. After all, every human being is a whole world of infinite and exponential worth, impossible to be quantified into a concrete number. We need look no further than Pharaoh at the beginning of the book of Exodus, who gets incredibly anxious as he sees the number of people in Bnei Yisrael increasing. Or Hitler, who demanded that his Nazi soldiers actually carve numbers into people's arms. Putting numbers on people diminishes their humanity and it diminishes their divinity. And so we have to be very, very cautious about using numbers when it comes to people. I had a teacher once who used to count the number of people in the classroom by listing out the plagues from the Passover Seder, Dam, Tzfardea, Kini, or the tribes of Israel. We can do this in creative ways. Part of that is kind of a funny antic, but I think the teaching runs very deep. We don't count people with numbers, at least not when they're right before us, because every person is of infinite worth. Shalom, peace.